Alternate votes. Also be reminded that smoking and use of vape products are strictly prohibited on school grounds. This evening's meeting includes 2 opportunities for public comment. The first comment period is designated for remarks related to the consent agenda and for tonight's presentations. The second comment period is open for comments on any topic you wish to bring before the board. Please note that public comment portions of the meeting are for comments only. If you have questions, you are welcome to share them. However, the board will review and respond to those questions after the meeting in a timely manner, as this portion of the agenda does not allow for dialogue or immediate responses. During each public comment period, each speaker is allowed 3 minutes with no sharing of minutes. Please state your name and address before beginning your comment. You will receive a 30-second warning and will be asked to conclude at the 3-minute mark. Please refrain from discussing specific students or staff members. To protect individual privacy, such concerns must be directed to the appropriate administrator. All comments should be directed to the Board of Education President. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll now move on to the public hearing regarding revisions to the district-wide school safety. The Board of Education will conduct a public hearing in order to update the committee on recommended changes to the district-wide school safety plan. After a presentation, members of the Board of Education and those in attendance will have the opportunity to ask questions and make comments regarding the plan. The revised plan is posted beginning on November 21st, 2025 for a 30-day public comment period. The Board of Education may consider a resolution to approve the district-wide safety plan at this meeting, and the Director of Security Examiner will make a presentation regarding enhanced measures and protocols that are being implemented to protect our students and secure the safety as part of the public hearing presentation.
Thank you very much. Thank you. So we were required by the New York State Education Department to create a cardiac emergency response plan. All school districts in New York State, Governor Hochul signed into law in 2025, July of 2025, requiring all districts to implement a cardiac emergency response plan. So I'm just going to go through it real quickly. So the purpose of this plan is to ensure a coordinated, evidence-based response to sudden cardiac arrest and other life-threatening cardiac emergencies. The plan establishes clear procedures for rapid recognition, immediate CPR, and prompt use of an AED. The plan applies to students, staff, and visitors on school grounds and at all school-sponsored events. The plan aligns with Dacia's law, New York State education law, and public health law. A little bit of a background. Dacia's law was enacted following the death of Dacia Sanders, a 12-year-old student in Western New York who suffered a sudden cardiac arrest during a physical activity at school. Although the AED was present in the school building, it was locked and not immediately available, which delayed life-saving care. The purpose of Dacia's law is to eliminate barriers to AED access and require school districts to formally plan for cardiac emergencies. The district cardiac emergency response plan will apply to all school buildings and all school grounds. The plan applies during instructional day and during school-sponsored events, including athletics, extracurricular activities, field trips, and off-campus programs. The plan will integrate nationally recognized guidance from the American Heart Association and aligns with local emergency medical service response protocols. So, recognition of sudden cardiac arrest. District staff are trained to recognize warning signs of sudden cardiac arrest. Warning signs will include collapse, unresponsiveness, abnormal or absent breathing, chest pain, dizziness, extreme fatigue, and the absence of a pulse. Early recognition is critical to activating emergency response procedures and improving survival outcomes. In the event of a suspected cardiac emergency, staff are directed to immediately call 911 and follow dispatcher instructions. Building administration is notified at the same time emergency services are activated. All staff have access to emergency communication tools, including classroom phones with all-call capability, portable radios, and access to the nurse's office, security, or the principal's office. AEDs are located in accessible and clearly marked areas throughout the school buildings and athletic venues. AED locations are identified on building level emergency response maps. Also, signage will be posted at the main entrance of all the school buildings. AEDs are inspected, maintained, and tested in accordance with manufacturer's guidance and public health law requirements. Each school building has a registered nurse assigned daily. Each building maintains a roster of staff certified in CPR, AED use, and first aid. All athletic coaches are required to maintain current CPR and AED certification. Administrators, security personnel, bus drivers, monitors, and other staff may receive voluntary CPR and AED training. All staff receive annual training on recognizing and responding to sudden cardiac arrest. An AED is present at all school-sponsored athletic events. The certified athletic trainer is present at high school athletic events and selected middle school athletic events. For off-campus events and field trips, at least one trained staff member is designated as the emergency responder. An AED accompanies school groups when an AED is not readily accessible at the event location. So some of the emergency response actions in the event of an emergency: staff will ensure scene safety, activate emergency medical services, CPR initiated immediately by trained personnel when indicated, an AED is retrieved and applied without delay, EMS assumes care upon arrival, AED data is preserved, EMS and hospital review when applicable, parents or guardians are notified in accordance with district procedures. As far as documentation, cardiac emergency incidents are documented using district accident and incident reporting procedures. A post-incident debriefing is conducted with involved staff. Each building maintains a venue-specific cardiac emergency response plan consistent with the district annex. Asia's law requires that the district-wide school safety plan include a cardiac emergency response provisions. The district-wide safety plan must be reviewed by the Board of Ed at a public meeting, and the plan must be posted for public review and comment for a minimum of 30 days. Following the public comment, the plan must be adopted by board resolution.
Any questions?
Good?
Okay, we're gonna make a motion to approve the district-wide safety plan, where the district-wide safety plan has been reviewed and revised by the district administration and school safety committee, and the Board of Education held a public hearing on the proposed plan on January 12, 2026, and completed the required 30-day public comment period. Therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Education hereby approves the revised district-wide school safety plan for the 25-26 school year, and authorizing the district administration to submit it to the New York State Education Department. So can I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Next, we're going to move on to the presentations of Unified, Dr. Jessica Lucas and Mr. Anthony Franco. We're presenting the Unified Banner Awards to the following students and staff members that contributed to our achievement and being recognized as a Special Olympic Champion National Banner School.
This evening we are proud to share a meaningful achievement. Patchogue-Medford High School has been recognized as a Special Olympic Unified Champion National Banner School. This distinction honors our school's ongoing dedication to creating a welcoming environment that provides meaningful opportunities for all students and ensures that everyone feels valued, supported, and included. This honor is the highest level of recognition you can receive through Unified Sports. It celebrates our excellence and leadership in creating inclusive communities. We are one of only 2 schools in all of Suffolk County who have achieved this, and only one of 9 in New York State. Since we launched Unified Sports in 2019, Patchogue-Medford has been at the forefront of inclusion revolution. Students with and without disabilities have come together as teammates, leaders, and advocates, building a school community rooted in acceptance, belonging, and pride. This achievement would not have been possible without the dedication of our staff, our coaches, advisors, and of course our students, all that give their time, their passion, and their heart to make unified sports such a success. Together we've proven what's possible when we lead with inclusion. This banner belongs to all of us here. It is a symbol of the culture that we have built together at Patchogue-Medford. A Special Olympics Unified Champion School is one that again exemplifies inclusive school climate, one rooted in collaboration, engagement, and respect among all students and staff. Schools that earn the national banner recognition have demonstrated an exceptional commitment to inclusion by meeting 10 nationally recognized standards of excellence developed by a national panel of leaders in the Special Olympics and the educational community. Tonight, many of those individuals that helped make our program a success are here with us tonight, and we invited them to come up here to be recognized. So please join me and Mr. Krakow in honoring these students and their staff for their commitment to inclusion, teamwork, and respect. And we'll hear a little bit from
Yes. So we'll now hear from some of our unified athletes and partners as they share the impact of the unified physical education and athletics have had on their school experience. And just again, a special thank you to really everyone. This is this program really is the work of many staff, parents, everyone in the community has contributed, and it's something I'm exceptionally proud of to be a part of, and it's truly a joy to watch it unfold each and every day. So first, who's our first student this evening? Here we go. So please just introduce yourself and then share your greatest memory of participating in Unified Phys Ed or athletics.
My greatest memory is spending time with my friends. When I'm feeling defeated, they bring me up and tell me I got this, and I can win games when I won a medal in golf. That was also so good memory.
Yeah. So just introduce yourself to everybody and please share what your greatest memory is.
My name is Robert Lee, and my greatest memory was participating in Unified Basketball because I get a lot from that. I believe in it, and I like taking the bus to play against local schools. I remember Coach Trevor, Coach Michelle, and Coach TV nights at Howell, and Coach Trevor giving me my shirts and number 36.
My name is Sophia. My greatest memory was during the first week of school, I tricked on Guru, specifically Matthew, and everyone started calling me Superman. Hi, my name is Colin, and my greatest memory is when an athlete made a shot from half court during our game, and it went in, and everybody was cheering, even the other team.
Our second question for each is, what does it mean to you that Patchogue-Medford High School is a unified champion national banner school?
It means that everyone comes together to play a sport, and it's really cool, and gets recognized for that.
Ready? Yes.
It means having a great job of letting everyone play sports and participate together.
To me, it means that Patchogue is doing its best to prioritize inclusivity and really ensure everyone has a place to be. It means a lot because I feel like our school tries to be very inclusive and that we are putting in the work and being recognized for it.
Congratulations again, everyone. I don't know if we have music for that. We do? Oh, you play your own? This might need to be teams. You guys can get it.
I will look at the camera. That was great, great. Thank you.
How are you? Good. Yeah, Coach Strava. Congratulations. How are you? I saw you. Look.
Good job, Riley. Thanks. Good job, buddy. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
I just also want to point out, I teach students the audience and Alessandra. She was not able to make it last month, and we highlighted our employees of the month, so now that you can stand up and congratulations on the recognition.
That's fine. Next, we're going to move on to the report by the ex officio committee member, Mr. Sherwood.
So tonight, I'm going to talk a little bit about the draft policy. Okay. So tonight I'm going to be talking a little bit about what the policy. So, from a student perspective, the policy plays a very small role and it shows that for a genuine student's value to the it also emphasizes the informed as well as taking seriously in discussions that have influence on them. I appreciate that the expectations as well as the limitations are clearly defined, showing setting boundaries, but also allowing students to use and participate in discussions. In addition, this application process is especially inclusive, offering different application methods, whether it be including a cover letter or resume, an essay, or a video submission. I think that this recognizes the different strengths and communication styles that one may have. As well as the requirement of having peer petitions. This would reinforce that the student members truly represent the student body, not just themselves. And most importantly from this, I think that this will allow students to feel heard, establishing that sense of communication between the board and the student body. Overall, allowing a safe space for their opinions to be shared. This past month, I had the opportunity to sit for a virtual conference with Mr. Suffolk-Cozy. It was an ex officio summit, and in this conference, I learned a lot about fostering connections with my school community. And one method in particular that really had stood out to me was creating a feedback survey. So in the conference, we got put into breakout rooms with other ex officio students from different districts. And one student from Freeport shared that she has a survey sent to all students with 24/7 submissions, where students can submit almost like blows and grows, whether it be positive or negative feedbacks of things that they want to see change me about. And she said that she really felt that it allowed for students in her building to have a safe space to share their opinions. I feel that having worked on the cell phone ban survey with Mrs. Kennedy, I can certainly say that a survey is a way of getting a response. I think that having a survey maybe like this available would be to submit ideas and concerns pertaining to any topic rather than just one particular. Will allow for new conversations to be brought to the board, as well as analyzing some data that can be shared out at future meetings, overall benefiting the student body and the board as a whole.
Thank you. Next, we're going to move on to public comments and reports on agenda items. So limited to 3 minutes per person, totaling no more than 60 minutes, and it's just on any reports that you saw or any questions on the meeting.
I just wanted to, two things. Was one, Mrs. Steinberg was being recognized last month, and I know that you're recognized now, but I do want to address something that together with other colleagues that they implemented this year, and it's PMSAC, it's Student Advisory. It has been wonderful seeing these things where the kids are encouraged to go to support each other's sporting events.
because sometimes some events will have more of a turnout than others, and the kids are excited to do that, and they take their pictures because they're allowed their cell phones then. So they do their selfies, and they take pictures, and they post them, and every team is sharing all these posts, and it's a really nice, I don't know, and it brings the kids together. So I wanted to just, thank her for that and just say, kudos to another wonderful thing. And again, I know I spoke about the unified, several times, but you can see, like, when they come up and they present, everybody's faces have smiles, and your heart can't not be touched by it. So it's just a phenomenal program, and I just want to thank our district for, doing all these wonderful things. Okay, then move on to the consent agenda. So can I have a motion to accept the consent agenda?
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Okay, there are no items removed from the consent agenda for separate vote, and there are no actions arising out of exec. So the information is the policy first reading. The following policies will be circulated for first reading. That there are no changes, the policy will be included on the February 23rd, 2026 Board of Education agenda. 4116.1, duty officer function and procedures. 4411, remote access to the network. And 6181, displaying of flags. Next, we move on to the superintendent's reports. Mrs. Kennedy.
All right, so first and foremost, Happy New Year. This is the first time we're seeing the community returning from our holiday vacation, so hopefully everyone had some rest and relaxation with family and friends, and we wish everyone a happy and healthy New Year. I'd like to first acknowledge our unified presentation. It is an honor to work in a district that has unified sports and really embracing all students. So I'm so proud and honored that we have won this award. So thank you for Dr. Lucas and Mr. Krakow for making this possible. We appreciate all the effort. You two were very instrumental in bringing this to our district, and we appreciate that. Generation Citizen, I'd like to let the community know that our district was in New York City this past weekend, last week, and we actually had a winner. Addison Rulin won Student Changemaker Award. So congratulations to our Generation Citizens group. We had 2 projects. The students were working on a safety, which is really looking at the safety of Apple Lane and Short Street, where they were working with our local police department. And also they were presenting on an app that they're looking to promote advertising of clubs and sporting events. So those were the 2 projects. They do have a presentation this Friday, so I know our board trustees, many of you may be attending that. I will also be attending that this Friday at our high school. Exciting news this weekend that I received from our Director of Athletics. We had an amazing track team events. We had 3 of our students break some district records. So Colin Jennings, congratulations trustee Jennings, in the 1,000 meter set a new record for Patchogue-Medford. Evan Frazier set a new record for the 300 meter. Colin was the 1,000 meter. And Jeremy Newsome with the shot put. So congratulations to all of our athletes who set new records. That is such an accomplishment. This week we'll be starting our elementary winter concerts. I also will be attending, and I know some of the assistant students will be attending as well. Our concerts prior to vacation were amazing. I know I saw a lot of our community there. The students always seem to amaze me with their talents, and as well as our teachers. I did have the opportunity, I'd like to congratulate one of our community members, Michelle Lamartino. I was reading in the Advance. She won the Long Island Advance Inspiration Award winner. So congratulations to Mrs. Lamartino. She does a lot for our community in the district and within her local community. So that's an honor for her and her family. Also, thank you to the high school, Miss M, our assistant principal, for putting together some vaping presentations that started today at our high school. As I shared with the community, vaping is an ongoing issue that we are battling with our students at the high school. I'm very transparent on that, and we've been working on bringing in new programs for our students. That was today. It will be tomorrow. I will be up there tomorrow to sit on those presentations, as well as a parent workshop that we scheduled for January 20th at 7 o'clock in the high school auditorium. I will be sending a reminder out to the community. It is vital that our families partner with us. We can't solve this problem without you, so I hope that we have a nice showing for that. And I am very pleased to announce, I know I've been reporting to the board multiple times, but we did receive word that the Patchogue-Medford School District was awarded the Emerald Culinary Garden and Teaching Kitchen Grant. It's something that we were working on at Tremont Elementary, and we are the recipients. We are the first school on Long Island to receive this farm-to-table grant, where our students will be learning culinary skills at an elementary level, and that is an award of $500,000 over 5 years. So thank you to the Tremont team for making that possible, and for Dr. Kelly working with me on that. It required a lot of collaboration, and the team up there is going to benefit, and it ultimately will benefit the entire school community, because we're starting it small and hope to grow it. So we're hoping to break ground on that in April and potentially have it opening up in September. That is an aggressive goal, but we're looking to accomplishment. So congratulations, Tremont. Congratulations, Dr. Kelly. And I see one of our teachers there. So thank you, Crystal, for all your help in getting that done. Crystal, when we had a visit, she was outside with all of our chickens and showing them. So I think that sealed the deal, if you ask me. Once they saw all the livestock, that was it. So congratulations to the entire Tremont team. So I think that is my updates, trustees. I'll turn it over to our assistant soups to see if they have anything else that they'd like to share.
I really don't have anything other than to say Happy New Year. I hope everybody enjoyed the holiday. As Mrs. Kennedy said, we have concerts coming up the rest of this month. I'm looking forward to 2 of them this week. I have Canaan and Eagle. I look forward to those concerts, as they've been doing an outstanding job throughout the holiday season. Thank you.
Just briefly, our building administrators and our directors are working with Dr. Deb DeLuca and Dr. Rich Hawkins to assist with chronic absenteeism at the schools. Just briefly, if a student misses approximately 15 days of school for the entire year, they're considered chronically absent. So this is something that we are working closely with them to really find ways to get our students in school. The secondary team met with them last week, and actually tomorrow, Dr. DeLuca and Dr. Hawkins will be with us for elementary.
Good evening. Just a couple quick updates to let everyone know. Some exciting things happening with the bond projects. As I reported last month, we're moving ahead full steam, but now it's really starting to take shape. So some of the more notable things are, with regard to the high school now, the bleachers and grandstands will be delivered within the next few weeks. It looks like maybe early February. You're going to see the team footings roll in, and they'll start with some of those. So anticipation of having them done for the latter part of the school season. So that's exciting, along with the completion of the interior work for the gymnasiums. With regard to the theatrical projects, the schedule now has been tentatively set. The high school to be done during the month of February. Saxon will take place during the month of April, and then Oregon in the month of May. As soon as we can get some preliminary work done, otherwise we'll flip that with South Ocean, but we really want to get Oregon done as We do a Future Stars Camp returning this summer again to Oregon. But then we'll have one of those two schools done over the summer. Ideally, Oregon in May and South Coast Schools. And then the last piece is the much anticipated HVAC work for the new ventilators. Preliminary work has already begun. They've already been doing wiring over here during the Christmas recess, doing a lot of the electrical work in South Ocean and some legal. And the anticipation is that now the goods will be ordered, and those projects are slated to begin this summer. So it'll be exciting now for the community to see the next phase. We're just getting a little bit ahead of us because we talked about this and when we're going to start the borrowing piece. And the initial estimates, and I won't steal the trustees' thunder for this, but we're going to have that information to share to update the community as to what we projected when we first went out for this bond referendum, and now where we see this really coming into. You hear more about that during the finance and finance operations.
Good evening. MyCAD, which is the Long Island Council of Alcohol and Drug Dependence, presented to our 6th grade students at the middle schools this past week. Their presentation was focused on social media and mental safety. It was an interactive presentation that helped students better understand how social media platforms are designed to capture attention, the role of the dopamine in motivating online behavior, and the average amount of time that teens are spending on social media. Our students explored this concept of digital footprint, including the risks of oversharing and the permanence of online content. The presentations addressed online safety concerns such as privacy and security, cyberbullying, and potential legal and emotional consequences of sharing inappropriate content, including sexting. In addition, the students examined the impact on social media that has on mental health, including stress, anxiety, self-esteem, and peer relationships. The program emphasized responsible online decision-making, empathy, and values based on behavior while encouraging students to seek support from trusted adults and take action when they feel that they are unsafe online. And we're going to continue our partnership with LICAD with some more incentives coming in throughout the year of middle school.
Thank you. Next, we're going to move on to committee reports. We've built in operations and finance, but you had a joint meeting together.
Just to prove on
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mealy, for having me on this set and then practicing. Okay, so we had a meeting on January 6th, a joint meeting with finance and buildings and operations. We talked about the bond project, and Mr. Mealy, jump in if I'm not saying this clearly, but the HVAC project at South Ocean, Bay, and Tremont, as well as the lighting projects at the secondary schools were recently let out to bid. The original estimate was $35 million, and is now projected to be $21.7 million, which was a savings to the taxpayer from about $75 annually to $25 annually. We discussed the energy performance contract. We reviewed the energy conservation measures, including solar panels and LED lighting. And this is a savings of just over $1.2 million annually to the district. And then we discussed the Bay Capital Reserve project, the contaminated soil, with the asbestos removal that was carried away, cost the district approximately $500,000. And then we just discussed that new options will be presented for review for us to decide what to do moving forward, and any changes would go out to the community for a vote if needed.
Next up, thank you. Next up is district-wide technology.
For district-wide technology, we had our last meeting, was it December 4th? So we already had that report. So we haven't had meetings since our last one.
Next up, extracurricular. All right, so we have extracurricular on the 7th, and we talked about the three logos and graphic design for the mascot that we were gonna look into. We have to bring it back, because we had a lot of kind of debate on what it looked like, so we're gonna bring it back before we bring it up and really bring it to the board. And then we decided to break, next meeting, we're gonna break it into 3 subgroups. One talking about a community art show, to see how we can work with maybe PAC for that, and maybe how, like, kind of what we can do with that. Talking about district signs, and how we can do the signs, what kind of signs we're going to put up, and where we're going to put them. And then talking about maybe an art show, maybe for the pops having the community tent and kind of different forums. And then kind of looking at our school day to kind of break it up between extra help and clubs. Next up is instructional and student support programs.
So with that, our last meeting was in December. We have not had meetings since our last board meeting.
Legislation.
We met a couple of days ago, I think, and had a presentation by Gregory Wallace from Long Island against charter schools. I will be sending a suggested regulation that they're offering to advocate for legislation requiring charter schools need to be approved by the impacted communities. It's really good discussion. Informationally, Long Island schools in the past 40 years, 85 school districts lost $539 billion. $53,509,000 to charter schools. Patchogue-Medford, over the past 4 years, paid somewhere in the vicinity of $700,000, and that was a 163% increase to charter schools. That's not coming in our state because we've had, how many students going to charter schools? 15 students going to charter schools. So this is a significant issue, and it's going to get pushed. And our next meeting is going to be on along with legislative breakfast on February 1st. That's it.
February 2nd.
Huh?
February 2nd.
7th, thank you. Thank you. It's a Saturday. It's a Saturday.
Okay, great, thanks. Any board discussions or updates? Next, we'll move on to public comment.
Hi, my name is Abby Ridley. I live in South Prospect in Patchogue. I have 2 kids in River Elementary, and I'm one of the youth services librarians at the public library. I'm here to express my concern and the concern of several other parents and community members about the reduction in library services at the schools, at the elementary schools. At River, our kindergarten and first grade students have had library 3 times so far this year. My older student has been there 14 times this year. It's my understanding that the decision to reduce library hours had a lot to do with the New York State mandates to provide more physical education. And I absolutely agree that at that young age, like, physical education is a huge priority. But some schools, like Tremont, for example, were able to provide the library for their kindergarten and first grade students for the first half this year, and also dropped a lot with physical education. So I'm curious about why some schools had more libraries on more days than other schools will not. We also, the other parents and I are curious about what the intentions are for the school board for replacing the school librarian as acquisition. And we're just really huge to reconsider the prioritizing on library space as not only in schools.
I had some concerns about the lack of bathrooms or available bathrooms at the high school for our boys.
like what we're doing to fix it or how soon it's going to be resolved. Because at this point, there are no available or open bathrooms on the second floor for the boys to use during the school day. I will leave this with 25, but it is a map of the building with the times that are available, when there are aides there, when they're not, if they're pulling people, if they're not. So I know we're short-staffed a few people right now because of some situations that happen. But some of the toilets aren't functioning, some of the bathrooms are closed because the stalls can't be used, but we don't have them open because the urinals, like, I'm just curious what we're doing to resolve that issue, and it's taking right now, because the kids are having to make a pass and go halfway across the building, about 20 minutes to go to the bathroom, and so it's taking half their class time, like literally half their class time to go to the bathroom. So I'm just hoping that we can resolve that soon. I also had a question regarding the recent hall sweeps and bag searches that are going on at the high school. Like, I know after today's incident, and I got a message regarding the situation at the high school, that I'm not saying it's not important to check our students or to monitor their safety, but I am a little concerned about why we are putting hall sweeps and searches together and making that like something where if you get caught in hall sweep that you're automatically searched. I'm not sure that that's something that we should be doing, or that, I mean, I don't want to say it's illegal, but it doesn't seem right. So I'm just concerned that maybe we need to address that.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you.
Hi, Sharon, because I live in Thursday College. It's interesting that Lon just brought up, Sharon, can you yell?
Yes, so it's interesting that mom just brought up the hall sweeps and bag searches and those types of things, because I actually reached out to the high school this week. On the way to school, beginning of this week, my daughter had a lot of anxiety. She's like, please, we gotta get there. I'm like, there's traffic here in Buffalo, I can't drive any faster. And she's like, but Mom, I gotta get into class before they lock the door. I said, what's the nervousness? You know, she's never late to class. She's never had a history of getting swept up in hall sweeps. But I guess not only are they taking kids who are late at the bell by locking all the doors, they're kind of bringing them to one central location, which could happen very far from where their class actually is located. Then they go there, they get written up with a, just notified that you've been late and you can only get a certain number per day or per week. I don't know how that all works, but then they have to go back to class. So now they're not only a minute or two late, but they've also missed so much of their class time going to the central location, getting their pass, and now returning to class. And she did mention that in addition to the hall sweeps, which I understand, we don't want kids wandering, we have to make sure kids are getting to class on time, that a lot of kids are getting dinged because of their cell phones. And I said, well, you know, aren't they including their yonder pouches? What's happening with that? Are they using them during this time when they're getting into trouble for hall sweeps? And she said, no, they're searching bags at that time. So they're kind of convoluting the get to class on time with searching bags. And my understanding about the policy is really where I'm most concerned. I read through the policy 5400, all that whole section. And we're not supposed to search kids' bags. And so this is a kid, you know, I gotta take this with a grain of salt. I don't know if our buildings are searching backpacks. They're allowed to feel the outside of the bag. They can ask a student to open the bag in the event that they have reasonable cause from a reasonable source, that there's suspicion that they have something. So it doesn't seem like being late to class, unless their AirPods are in at that moment, is a reason to ask a student to open their backpack or to see their yonder pouch. So I came in today with that question, but I have reached out to Dr. R. I spoke to a dean at the high school. I'm waiting to get back over the phone from Dr. R. He did message me. I know today was a busy day. We're hoping to talk tomorrow. But the dean that I spoke with, she said, well, you know, we can search their bags. And that isn't the policy, so if it's not being used appropriately, Dr. R and I can talk about that some more, and hopefully you guys on the board and the administration can all have more conversations. Even during metal detectors, you know, they're not supposed to search the bags. There are policies about how that's done, how you ask kids
twice to please show you anything in their bag, how other people need to be with you when you're going through items, how they expect you to tag and kept. So the policies are pretty clear. Hopefully, you know, this is just kids saying, well, they took my phone and they're mad about it, you know, rather than people not following the policy. Talk about making in elementary too. Get them, you know, aware of how dangerous it is before the high school. And congratulations on the annual grant. I think that's really fantastic. Thank you.
I had a pleasure to come speak, but Erin Casio is on the process. I have a first grader and a sixth grader. Everybody's concern is literacy education, especially Sabbaths. These kids are not seeing actual novels. They're not holding books in their hands. Both my girls love reading, but my sixth grader hates school because she can't help it. And that's so heartbreaking. We really need to get books back in the hands of these kids. And I'm for technology education. I worked in the IT department in the school district for several years, but it needs to be balanced. They need to have books. They absolutely need to hold novels and read. Thank you.
You want to say something?
So, my name is Michael Demosky. My name is Michael Demosky. I'm a student at the high school. And I know that some parents have addressed some concern about bag searches and home sweeps. And I feel like if you're not doing anything wrong, then you shouldn't have a problem with your bag being searched. If you're getting your phone confiscated for it not being locked in your yonder pouch, well, it's New York State law that your phone is supposed to be locked in your yonder pouch. So I felt I should address that from the board, that I felt that, your bag being searched, and yes, it is a policy that, some parents would feel like that shouldn't be searched, but if you're being searched and somebody's found in your bag that's getting you in trouble, then that is your problem. You're the one that had that in your bag and should not be in school. And if you feel that you're really late to class and that's taking away from your education, then you shouldn't be late to class. Thank you.
Okay, the board has to adjourn to go back into exec session. So we are going to, those are the meetings for the exec session.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
I'm sorry, say that again?
Are you immediately concluding after your exec session, or do you want to